Did Steven Greer fake a UFO sighting so he could justify all the stupid shit he claims? If you love snarky Museum of Tarot, you're gonna love this video. So let's take a look at the evidence and you decide. As the story goes, back in 2015, Steven Greer led one of his paid CE5 UFO summoning events in Zero Beach, Florida, or as we like to call it, South Central Long Island. And as they were sitting there on the beach, some spooky lights showed up over the ocean. First one, and then a few seconds later, another one. Okay, that's all fine and good and woo, super spoopy. But it's some of the things that Greer mentions and the situation around that event that should make you suspicious.
Okay, you see that color?
Yeah. That's not a plane.
No. Oh no. Okay, so I'm looking with the night scopes. There's no smoke, there's no trails. These are not flares.
Wait, what was that? First, he jumps on it when somebody says that these aren't planes, and then he goes out of his way to specifically state that these aren't flares. Let's say you went to a new restaurant and you got a hamburger, and the waiter brought you your hamburger, and you took a bite, and he said, "That's totally not rat meat." Like, dude, why would you even say that? Is this some kind of like Freudian guilty conscience shit going on? Well, you're about to find out. So, Greer claims that there were no planes out there that night. In the video, he says that those aren't planes. Well, let's analyze that claim, shall we? As you can see from this flight data, there was a small plane out there in the sky, right where they were sitting in Vero Beach, at the correct distance from the shoreline where they spotted the objects, and it was at the approximate right time. This says 9:11 p.m. that night, and we know that they were sitting out there at 9:11 right around 9:15 p.m. because Stevie asked for a time check.
Time?
9:15.
9:15, so the mark time.
So this plane with the registration N110SU flew right past him at the right time, at the right area, at the right distance from the coastline. And we're going to see why that registration is significant in a moment. Something else that Stevie does here is also kind of sus. He tells the participants to shut off their night vision scopes, which would have indicated whether there was a plane over the horizon.
Wow, and it's above the sea level.
Please turn off your night scope, Charles. Off.
In fact, he does this even though he says that he was using a night vision scope, controlling the information during the session so that nobody else could see what he was seeing.
Okay, so I'm looking with the night scopes. There's no smoke, there's no trails. These are not flares.
Now, I don't know about you, but as a fully grown man whose balls actually dropped, if I paid some son of a bitch several $1,000s to go sit on a beach and wait for orbs to show up, and those orbs showed up, you better be damn sure I'm looking at it however the hell I want to. So for Steven to act like some school teacher scolding a child to turn off their scope when that adult presumably paid him to be there is sus and control freaky as fuck. He also makes damn sure that his people are recording the incident, which if you went through that much trouble to set it up, you'd want to get all the press and publicity out of it that you could.
Whoa.
Jacques, please photograph.
Yeah,
All cameras should be filming.
And indeed, ever since this event, this has been one of Greer's key pieces of evidence for UFOs. Right. Now, Greer's own footage gives us a hint that this was in fact a plane dropping flares out over the ocean. They had more than one camera set up, and this second camera looks like it captured some stills, and it looks as if they might have had the ISO turned up a little higher on this camera. And that can allow you to see things in the footage that you normally wouldn't see with the unaided eye. And if I take these pictures and I enlarge them and I put them side by side, you can see very clearly that there are lights leading away from the site where the two flares were dropped. And what this looks like are the aviation safety lights on the aircraft. And if we put them all side by side, you can see flare 1 drop, flare 2 drop a few seconds later, and as they are dropping, you'll see the light farther and farther and farther away as it's moving away from the site where the flares were dropped. And is there any other indication that these were flares? Well, yes. If you actually look at the original footage and speed it up, you'll see that flare 1 shows up and starts dropping, and flare 2 shows up and starts dropping, and they drop at the same speed towards the horizon, and they blink out as they start to go towards the water, but they're also moving in unison, and they're being blown by the wind along with the clouds. Now, if someone wants to spin this, they'll say that the UFO showed up and then they went into the ocean. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Why the hell would UFOs be blown by the wind? Get real. They sell these flares. They're actually pretty cheap. You pull the thing, the flare shoots out, and it drops down with a parachute, and they last about a minute or two until they burn out, which is exactly what you see in the footage. So I hope this is starting to paint a picture and you're starting to come to some realizations. But let's expand a little bit further and take a look at who that plane actually belongs to. As you can see, that registration is a Beechcraft Model 76 Duchess, but that Beechcraft was registered to an outfit known as Ari Ben Aviation. And Ari Ben Aviation is headquartered out of this airport in Fort Pierce, Florida, just south of Vero Beach. So even the flight path would have taken it north just along the same route that we saw with the flares. Now, in my opinion, Greer has been nothing but a disappointment over the almost 30 years that I've been watching his stuff. In my opinion, he has not produced anything that I would consider actual evidence of any of his claims. We know he was funded by Larry Rockefeller to push Rockefeller's goofy little cultural conditioning UFO psyop. Greer, along with people like Bob Bigelow, Linda Moulton Howe, and even the Slurm Queen herself, Hillary, were all part of this. And through all of it, the only thing Greer has ever produced is stupid footage like this, his fake little Atacama alien body that was proven to be a malformed human. And let's not forget Bijou the Andromedan, which,
Our group, if you look, go to cseti.org, has a photograph of a extraterrestrial being that visited us transdimensionally that actually appeared in a photograph a couple of years ago at Joshua Tree National Park, and he was from the Andromeda Galaxy.
Oh boy, what convincing proof. Oh look, I think I spotted another one. Maybe if you meditate and open your throat chakra, it'll give you a surprise.